Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an ever-changing, ever-evolving, gargantuan story in the world of football. Of course, I'm referencing the fact how Chelsea Football Club has been frozen, has been seized from Roman Abramovich, or certainly frozen within the sanctions that he's enduring at the moment from the government as a Russian oligarch. An ever-changing situation that's developing yet again. If you want my instantaneous reaction, please do go to my previous upload to see that, to hear what I have to say. Lots is changing, maybe not as bad as we originally assumed. I'm going to be updating you through an article written by Matt Law of The Telegraph, and also linking said article down in the description below. That's the source I'll be citing today, and also I'll be updating you on all this ever-changing and insane situation in world football. Please do consider showing your support by liking the video. It takes a second. It does support me, the content creator. And of course, if you are interested in constant updates regarding any Chelsea news story, please do subscribe. And should you choose to do so, hit the bell notifications icon. Right, so what do we know so far? Roman's been sanctioned. He's one of many oligarchs regarding, the invasion of Ukraine. He cannot sell Chelsea Football Club, or at least that's what we thought leading up to this. Chelsea can't sell merchandise or like food or beer or anything at Stamford Bridge. Only season ticket holders can attend games. Apparently, they're capped to 20k travelling costs, and usually it's 30k, so are they going to have to get a bus to Lille? Are they going to have to sleep in a cheaper hotel? I know amongst all this, poor, millionaire footballers might have to just stay in a semi-decent hotel. Not top priority at the moment in terms of what we're discussing here. No transfers, transfer ban season 2, #, and no new contracts. Now, of course, this was worrying in the sense of, we knew Azpilicueta's going, and we knew Christensen's going, or certainly Christensen, but Rudiger not being able to give a new contract to Antonio Rudiger and not being able to bring in Koundé, who we're seemingly going to bring in anyway as a new transfer, is really worrying. And this is crisis is leveling up all over the gaff at this point. But I was thinking, my instantaneous reflex reaction was, thank God we signed Thiago Silva up to a new deal. Thank God we've got Levi Colwill, who looks definitely capable of coming into the first team. Even Ruben Loftus-Cheek's apparently a centre-back now. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff thinking we'll get through this. We've got Thomas Tuchel. And before we read this article, on Thomas Tuchel, I was just retweeting a tweet from Adam Crafton of The Athletic. Yet again, is Thomas Tuchel going to have to be the spokesperson for a club that its existence, its existential identity has come under threat? Surely a club official, a director, has to sit down and talk to the people and be like, so this is the situation with the existence of Chelsea Football Club at the moment. Or is it down to the manager, yet again, to speak as the face of the club when he's just the first team coach? Who, by the way, he's navigated this whole situation pretty admirably. I'm talking about the European Super League and the protests outside Stamford Bridge. I'm talking about the Romelu Lukaku interview. And I'm talking about the Roman Abramovich trilogy. The trustees are going to run the club. The club is up for sale. And now we've been sanctioned and the club has been frozen. All before, on the day of, or before a big game. On the day of on the day of a game today. Mental! Absolutely mental. You gotta feel for Thomas Tuchel. Right, let's get into this update for you guys. Let's keep the content moving. So this is by Matt Law. The Daily Telegraph is very close to Chelsea. It's behind a paywall, so I urge you to go check out the article and click in the link in the description. Matt Law is on top of the situation as per the norm. Chelsea could still be sold if Roman Abramovich hands over the process to the UK government. And the Telegraph Sport can reveal prospective buyers have not been put off by the Russian billionaire having his assets frozen. Abramovich was officially sanctioned on Thursday, which effectively plunged Chelsea into a state of paralysis, with the club no longer being able to sell matchday tickets, merchandise, or renegotiate contracts. And that obviously includes transfers as well, from reading other reports. But the sale of Chelsea can still go through if Abramovich allows the government to take over the process and decide where the funds, which are likely to top £2 billion, from any deal go. We'll talk about that in a second. The license to freeze his assets prevents Abramovich from selling the club under the current government sanctions that were imposed on Thursday. However, the Telegraph Sport understands that special dispensation will be given if the government sees a sale of ownership as in the best interests of Chelsea. That does not benefit Abramovich. Quote, HM Treasury may vary, revoke, or suspend this license at any time, end quote, the license states. Bidders have so far been left in the dark over whether Abramovich will do this, with New York-based merchant bank Rain currently handling the sale. Of course, Rain is the third party essentially doing the hands-on business in terms of selling Chelsea Football Club and receiving bids. But the Telegraph Sport has contacted one of its prospective buyers who have insisted their interest remains just as strong as it was and are hopeful to find a solution, or a solution can be found that allows a sale of Chelsea. Again, regarding the people who are talking loudest about buying Chelsea, we've spoken about that in recent videos. Are these candidates the likely ones to actually go through with the purchase of Chelsea, or are they ones just getting overexcited and talking about it? We'll have to see. Let's read on. The Telegraph, read that part. The most likely solution would seem to be, rather than the proceeds of a sale going for a charity set up by Abramovich, they instead go into a fund set up by the government. But with his assets frozen rather than seized, that would still need to be agreed by the 55-year-old. So there could be a negotiation here where Roman sits down, the government sits down, and they all agree, and probably in his sense, reluctantly shake hands to see this over the line. Abramovich would appear to have little choice than to eventually agree, with the alternative seemingly presenting a doomsday scenario for Chelsea in which the club remains in a state of paralysis and slowly decays. Wow, the government have really put Roman and Chelsea's testicles in a vice. Sources close to Abramovich have argued that he is desperate to protect his Chelsea legacy, and his only way of doing this with supporters would appear to agree to whatever it takes for the club to be sold. American billionaire Todd Boehly, together with Hans-Jörg Wyss, by the way, not the most popular prospective buyers for Chelsea, and another businessman have already made a bid believed to be between 2 billion and 2.5 billion, which remains on the table, while the Ricketts family and New York Jets owner Woody Johnson, who no one wants by the way, are understood to be interested. British billionaire Nick Candy and the Turkish businessman Muhsin Bayrak, who people still can't confirm if he's got the wealth to buy Chelsea, have also claimed to be in the running. Make sure you check out this article by Matt Lawboy, clicking the link in the description to get all that information and reread it and share it. Look, we can be cynical here, and when it comes to the government, one is inclined to be cynical. Like I said in my previous upload, from the instantaneous reaction of this, the government want to control where the money for Chelsea goes. And yes, Roman wasn't going to get any of the proceeds, and yes, it was a good optics of him donating it to the the proceeds of to aid from victims of the war, but again that wasn't specified of which victims. Again, condemning war, but not the Russian side of it. Although the plot does thicken in this conflict, but this isn't a political YouTube channel, and I'm only going to talk about football and Chelsea. The government wants the money, or wants the money that they can control, and you can read in between the lines with that. One thing is for sure, things need to move quickly. Chelsea can be fine. All this stuff might be a pressure point and a pressure application to Roman Abramovich to be like, look, all this stuff can happen, no transfers, this, that. Chelsea can descend into, maybe not ruin, but as Matt Law appropriately wrote, decay. And you have, Roman, you have the ability to prevent this from happening if you agree to what we want. They've basically, got him in a stranglehold. Oh, my word. And if he says, okay, just do it, then who knows? Chelsea might quickly sell. And if they quickly sell to Nick Candy, Todd Boehly, and this and stuff, they're like, right, carry on. You can do transfers, you can do new contracts, you can build a new stadium, make Chelsea great again. Macca, whatever you'd call that. And maybe that would happen, and maybe everything's going to be fine. And the stuff that we've referenced previously here on the channel before, recently, about Chelsea becoming more sustainable, about Chelsea getting a new stadium, about Chelsea even more so integrating an academy that already seems pretty darn well integrated, Chelsea sorting out their wage bill, Chelsea not spending 100 million on players that aren't going to help them. All this can happen, and hopefully, you know, the Premier League, the FA do an appropriate directors and owners test, and Chelsea have to trust the recent workings, you know, and maybe Roman Abramovich sits down with the UK government saying, yes, just make sure the new owners are going to take Chelsea forward. One thing that can't be disputed throughout this wild and crazy time is Roman Abramovich loves Chelsea. He's proud of his legacy at Chelsea, and he'll want Chelsea to continue on as a superpower, as a juggernaut, as a beacon for positivity in the community and, you know, anti-discrimination, and hopefully he will hope against anti-Semitism and all that stuff. It's absolutely wild. Again, the situation is ever-changing. Make sure you keep it locked to Football Therapy. Thank you for all of you who are continually supporting my content. It means a lot. I appreciate you all, so thank you for the interactions, the likes, the comments, the new subs and the shares. I look forward to seeing you on the next upload. Wild. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.